A Christian cannot celebrate a false religion. That's why as Christians we can't go on pride marches or celebrate Pride Month. That's why as Christians we can't celebrate Ramadan or Iftar or Muhammad's birthday or the Hindu festival of Holi or Yom Kippur of the Jewish people. We can't celebrate these things because our faith says that we cannot mix light with darkness, we cannot mix truth with falsehood. And so King Charles, by celebrating Iftar, has not only demonstrated that he is not discipled properly in the faith, he has also broken his vows to be a defender of the faith. Because he, as king and as a Christian monarch, has set a terrible, horrendous, abominable example to Christians in these islands by suggesting that we should celebrate a false religion. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, King Charles should not, and future monarchs should not be made to vow to defend the Christian faith. And the Church of England should be disestablished from the state. The monarch and Christians should call out this monarch for his poor understanding of Christianity. As Christians, we can no more celebrate Ramadan than Muslims can celebrate Christmas. And no one condemns Muslims for saying that they can't celebrate Christmas. So no one should condemn Christians for saying that they won't celebrate Ramadan or Eid or have an Iftar meal. Any other topics of the news that people want me to talk about?
Brilliant answer. Thank you so much. What's your thoughts on the pyramids, Bob? The fact that they found an image, heated image or infrared image that would appear that there are columns that would support the pyramids, top of the pyramids. Are you aware of that news, Bob?
I am neither aware of the news, nor do I care.
Next question.
I got a question for you. Like the gentleman said, I wasn't going to say it yet. Let's talk about Tommy Robinson. And earlier on this week, the court found that he's not being put in isolation. He's in segregation. So he lost his case. What do you have to say?
So the case that happened in court was a court case asking for an emergency review of whether Tommy Robinson is being treated fairly and equally under our prison system. Tommy Robinson has spent over 100 days in isolation. Under the UN and other human rights definition, that constitutes torture. Tommy Robinson is a political prisoner inside the UK. The reason why he has spent 140 days in prison is because he has challenged our liberal elites about the way that they are governing our country and about the way they turned a blind eye to Muslim rape gangs that for 40 years have targeted white working class girls. And because he exposed the activities of the courts to cover up the truth. I believe that a just government would free Tommy Robinson immediately, pay him reparations for the unfair way that he has been treated, and to sack the judges, the Crown prosecutors, and many police officers who have politicised their office in bringing charges against him and in the way that they've abused the legal system to go after him. The reality is that you don't live in the society you think you do. We live in a society, ladies and gentlemen, in which if you challenge the elites will come after you and they will punish you through the process. If they want to get you, they'll find something to make it stick. And that's the truth about our society. It has been captured by a progressive internationalist elite that want to dominate our courts, our police, our judiciary, to silence any opposition. And our society, my voice is going, nothing I can do about that. And our society has been internationalized by these elites. Again, I ask you to step in a minute so I don't have to try and project my voice as much. Thank you very much. Our society has been internationalized by international elites, which means that our institutions are no longer serving the people in this country. They are serving the internationalist ideology of said elites. And those institutions are being prostituted for that ideology. The United Kingdom, along with Western Europe, needs a Trumpian revolution. It needs a Trumpian rebellion to overthrow our elites democratically and remove them from power. And that is the mindset that we must all have, so that we can capture our state again, so that the state serves the people and not the internationalized elites that have captured it. Any other questions on any news topic that's been in the news recently? Going once? Going twice? Clearly my voice is not used to doing this. I've been on a break for a long time. So any questions about any aspect to the Christian faith? This is your chance, if you've got one.
Cashless society in the mark of the beast. How are you going to bring everyone together for Christianity?
So he asked the question first. So there are some Christians who believe that in Revelations, where it talks about a mark of the beast, that this is something that suggests that we will have a cashless society. That's one possible interpretation, but it is not a guaranteed interpretation of the text. The text does not demand of us an exegesis that says society will become cashless. However, a cashless society empowers our governments even more to control our lives. A technocratic society is emerging in which technology limits our freedoms more. If you want to know what that looks like, look to China today. In the Christian faith, we believe that an Antichrist will emerge, and that Antichrist will prevent those that don't have the mark of the beast from buying or selling. We've already seen with the COVID jabs and the banning on people from buying or selling in some parts of the world if they didn't have a COVID jab, that people are willing to accept the idea of limitations on your ability to buy and sell if you don't go along with the collective. The idea of individual freedom to trade is a bulwark against the Antichrist and a bulwark against totalitarianism, as is free speech. Once you lose the ability to speak freely, all your other rights are more easily taken away. Because if you can't speak up, your rights can be taken from you. You must defend your right to speak, because that's the foundation stone by which you secure all other rights, including your right to trade. This Labour government wants to limit our ability to criticise Islam. Though you can criticise Christianity freely, or Hinduism freely, or atheism freely, or Buddhism freely, but our Labour government wants to limit criticism of Islam in particular. Why? Why are we seeing our elites favour Islam and the Muslim community over the rest of us? It is not because they have brains, it is because they are cowards and they are scared of Islamists like this. We must get rid of our elites and we must establish a Christian state that will deal with Islamists like this and remove them from the country. We should not tolerate Islamist ideologues anywhere in the land.
I'm passing to the right path. I want to stop you from going to hell. That's what I'm trying to do. And he's not listening to me.
Do you want to debate about Islam? There you go. Doesn't want to debate. He wants to save me from Islam, but he doesn't want to debate.
My king is going to heaven.
So let him answer this.
He's going to heaven.
Let him answer this. Watch him run away. This guy's trainers on.
He's going to heaven. We are all going to heaven, brother. I'm telling you, you got the wrong book.
He says I've got the wrong book. This is an Islamic book.
He bows down.
This is a book of Islamic fiqh
Down to a human being.
from the Shafi madhab. So this is accepted by Muslim jurists when they pass their judgments or give fatwas. They consult these manuals before they pass fiqh. There you go. Reliance of the traveller. No, ladies and gentlemen. Let me read something. Oh look, he's run away. Why am I not surprised?
Go with the wind. Well done, Bob. Well done.
Listen. This is what this book of fiqh says. And if you're not an Arab, I want you to listen very carefully. All of you black Muslims, I want you to listen very carefully. All of you Pakistani Muslims, I want you to listen very carefully. All of you white Muslims, I want you to listen very carefully. This is what this book of Islamic jurisprudence says about the suitability of marriage partners. Everybody say marriage partners.
Marriage partners.
It is unlawful for a Muslim man to marry. Are you listening carefully? A Zoroastrian woman, an idol worshipper, an apostate, a woman with one parent who is Jewish or Christian while the other is Zoroastrian. Listen carefully. It is not lawful for a Muslim man to be married to any woman who is not either a Muslim, a Christian, or a Jew. Nor is it lawful or valid for a Muslim woman to be married to anyone besides a Muslim. Now notice the discrimination. Did you pick it up? Muslim women can only marry Muslim men. But Muslim men can marry women from amongst the Christians and Jews unless one of their parents is a Zoroastrian. This is discrimination, I'm sure you would agree. Would you not? But listen further. It gets worse.
Worse.
Are you listening, black Muslims, Pakistani Muslims, white Muslims? A non-Arab man for an Arab woman is not a suitable match. Did you all hear that? The following are not suitable matches for one another. A Muslim non-Arab man for an Arab woman. Did you all catch that? Did you all catch that, black Muslims? Did you all catch that, Pakistani Muslims? Did you all catch that, white Muslims? According to this book of Islamic jurisprudence, you're not a suitable match for an Arab Muslim woman. Tell me, explain how that is not racism. Explain to me how that is not prejudice. You see, in Christianity, we have no such rule. A black Christian man can marry a Jewish Christian woman. A white Christian man can marry a Pakistani Christian woman. And to all you Christians who buy into ethno-nationalism and say that you're against race mixing, I want you to hear my words clearly. I am against you. Race mixing is not a problem in the people of God. We have no such rules in our religion. But in the Islamic religion, there is inherent racism. In the Hadiths, Muhammad said that the Arabs were superior to the non-Arabs. That's in the Hadiths. In the Quran and the Hadiths, it says that Allah will darken the faces of those that He sends to hell and whiten the faces of those that He sends to heaven. So, how is that not racism in Islam? But it gets worse, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. In this book of Islamic jurisprudence, listen to what it says. A guardian may not marry his prepubescent daughter to someone for less than the amount typically received as marriage payment by similar brides. Did you all pick up the key word? What was the key word? Prepubescent marriage in Islam is permissible. Racial discrimination on the grounds of marriage is permissible. Gender discrimination in terms of marriage is permissible. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I was to go on the BBC and say on the BBC that black Christians should not marry white Christians, and that we should marry children, and that Christian men can marry Jews and Muslims, but Christian women could only marry Christian men. How long do you think it would be before the BBC villainised me as a bigot? How long? 5 seconds. But yet, when we highlight the same bigotry, but don't stick a white face on it, but call it Islam, all of the left-wing Guardian Easter type turn a blind eye. They shut their ears, they close their eyes, and they silence their mouths. Why? Because they are cowards. But we Christians are not cowards. And we are willing to call out Islam for the evil that it is. And it is evil. So my choice to all of you liberals who want to condemn me, either justify what you have heard or agree with me that it is wrong. Either defend what you have heard or oppose what you have heard. As a Christian, I have no choice but to oppose it. You must decide whether you are a coward, whether you are a hypocrite, or whether you are someone of your convictions. I have time for people of conviction, but I have no time for people who will say that racism is wrong, but then turn a blind eye when evidence is demonstrated. I have no time for people who say that child marriage is wrong, but then turn a blind eye when child marriage is being justified. I have no time for people who say sexual discrimination is wrong, but then turn a blind eye when sexual discrimination is being justified. Choose whether you are a man of conviction or a coward chasing a paycheck.